Hello, I was tired of the hypocrisy one more time tonight. Um, I wanted to talk about more funny and weird stuff that happened at the Kingdom Hall or assemblies or any kind of gatherings that involved the Jehovah's Witnesses that I was involved with. Um, Once, when I was living up in Washington, um, it was the big deal that the Seahawks were going to be in the Super Bowl, and it just so happened that our local congregation uh, the Sunday meeting was going to be uh, terminating um, well after the Super Bowl started. And so I thought it was just hysterical. Everybody shows up for the public talk, and the presiding overseer canceled the the talker that had been given the privilege of giving the Sunday talk, and he took it over himself, and he turned the 45-minute Sunday talk into about a 20-minute talk, and he rushed along to the Watchtower Study, and instead of letting the Watchtower conductor handle it, he went ahead and took on the Watchtower Study as well, and um, he didn't have anybody read. He just asked questions, and he usually only asked one question per paragraph, unless it was an A or B answer. And he didn't ask for any elaboration. He just wanted you to read the direct answer that's already given in the Watchtower magazine. And he turned that into about I guess it was about a 20-25 minute Watchtower study. And he closed with probably the shortest prayer I've ever heard in a Kingdom Hall. He was done in 30 seconds or less. He was done with the prayer, and he headed straight for the door, and people were in his way trying to shake his hand, and he would just take their hand and pass them past him and just move on. And he headed right out the door because nothing's more important than the Super Bowl. And I can say, I was pretty grateful, that we didn't have a real long Sunday meeting. I'm not a Seahawks fan, so no offense to the Seahawks fans out there, but no, I wasn't. I wasn't a big Seahawks fan. In fact, I used to have kind of a gambling problem, and so I kind of tried to avoid a lot of sporting events on TV and stuff. But I did find it very hypocritical that the Super Bowl took precedence over our spiritual food at the proper time. You there was another incident um, when we were living in Northern California. There were two congregations. No, there were three congregations that were uh, using the same old hall, and there were two English and one Spanish, and we were part of the Spanish congregation, and it was very typical for the um, Anglo brothers to kind of push the Hispanic brothers around. They didn't give them a whole lot of weight whenever there was any kind of committee meeting or anything. They were just kind of looked down upon. I'm guessing there was a little bit of racism there, but go and try and prove it. But the an issue came up. The congregation was supposedly in need of a new sound system to be able to, um, where you hook up the mics and the whole deal from the platform and then the roving mics. And so they called all of the brothers that wanted to take part in the meeting. They invited us all to go give our 2 cents. And so the elders from one congregation had an elder who was trying to sell the congregation a very, very expensive kind of old and beat up sound system that he used when he used to have a band. And I'll tell you, it's a good thing my dad went. My dad was an expert in that kind of thing. And so, they were just expecting everybody to just say aye, and agree that the congregation should pay this brother actually about the same amount that he paid for it new. And it was more than what you could get a new one for. So it was nepotism. They were just trying to, get the congregation to give this guy some money. And what brought this back to mind was reading about the congregation in Arizona that Mike and Kim were talking about, how the congregation there spent a couple of $100,000 on a piece of property. It was valued at like nearly $250,000, and it was sold for $110,000 at a loss. And it was sold to one of the brothers in the congregation, and now he's going to turn around and sell it for much more. So that kind of fraud is what we were suspecting in our congregation back then. And so my dad examined the old soundboard, and he said, yeah, this is not really up to par for our new needs, because they had expanded the building, they had renovated it, and they figured that they could put speakers in new places, and so it needed some new hookups. And so my dad looked at the old one that the brother was trying to sell, and he said, "This is way too much. This is something that you'd expect at a rock concert, you know." And he said that it was pretty old. There was no warranty on it, and for all we knew, he said it's overpowered, and it's got way more connections. He goes, we would take something like this to the district convention and still have leftover plugins. He said, this is way too much, and there's no warranty on it. He goes, I don't think it's a good idea. And the brother was getting red in the face. He was mad because somebody who actually knew what was going on about electronics was really, exposing him for what he was trying to do. And so the congregation decided to vote, and my dad, who wasn't an elder or anything, he was just a well-respected brother, and he called me and my brother aside, and we had a little chat in the corner, and then my dad came forward and he said, here's a proposition for you. Instead of the congregation paying money, my family is going to go ahead and buy a brand new one that's appropriate for this location, and we'll make it a gift to the congregations. That way they can use it and won't cost the congregation anything. And that brother just stormed out of the hall. He was mad. And they all voted on it. They decided to take our offer, and the next day we went and we picked out a pretty nice one and just went and installed it for him. And the congregation, everybody has this really inflated opinion of the elders. And in my long tenure as a witness, I've seen a lot of really bad elders and a lot of duplicitous behavior, fraudulent behavior, just dishonesty, and just a lack of spirituality. And I believe it filters down from the top. If you've got an organization that lies and cheats and doesn't really respect women or children or anybody's rights, the people that are in the lead taking care of that organization are going to mirror what the governing body is doing. And it's basically, it's set to fall. I hope it falls soon, because a lot of people are trapped in there. And I was fortunate enough to get out, and some of us out here recognize how fortunate we were to get out of it. And many of us have paid a price for our freedom. A lot of brothers and sisters that walked away ended up losing very, very dearly loved family members and friends. And it's sad that the Watchtower Society pits family members against one another. They expect loyalty to the organization. They claim loyalty to Jehovah, but it's you can't just be a lover of God and a believer in His Son and a hoper for their kingdom to come one day. You have to take off your hat and worship the Watchtower Society. You have to. There's no way around it. It's a false idol. The Watchtower itself, their symbol, the Watchtower, is steeped in Spiritism. And I can tell you one time I went into a Kingdom Hall in Roseville, California, and there was a brother that had been visiting from Bethel, and he had a little golden Watchtower lapel pin on his suit. And it just spoke to me of idolatry. You know, it's just amazing to me how so much idolatry and anti-biblical teachings surround this organization, and people who proclaim to have a great love for God and respect for His Word are blinded and don't see the very obvious things right in front of them. It's sad. And I believe that there's strong demonic influence in the Watchtower Society, and the people that follow those teachings are mesmerized and under demonic control to some degree. My prayer is that in Jesus' name that God see that God sees the evil that goes on there and acts on it, because there are sincere people that want to serve Him, and they need the blood of His Son to wash them clean. And I hope that in Jesus' name that they're able to escape that Watchtower. Thank you for listening, and have a great night.